Planet Dolan.
From joking about everything to chewing on shirts, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about our most annoying habits that drive everyone nuts. I'm Doopy, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by AmIInAPlanetDolanVid. Yes you are. Dolan likes to itch his butt. Back in the day, Dolan shared a bedroom with his sister Ramona. One time, they were chilling out when Ramona noticed Dolan moving in a strange way. She asked him what he was doing, and Dolan answered sheepishly,
"Itching my ass? Why?"
Ramona yelled, "You disgusting ass freak!" But Dolan didn't care and continued itching his ass in front of her. Number 9 was submitted by Flumpor. From the time she was 10 to when she was 16, Mimi had a weird habit of doing something with her nose. She would put her right nostril over the middle part of her nose and lock it in. Then she would release it so that it made a weird popping sound that only she could hear. Whenever she did it, her mouth would move, annoying others because they would think that she was making fun of them. It was just a harmless tic that Mimi couldn't control, although she doesn't do it anymore. Number 8 was submitted by PizzaGum. Derek's most annoying habit was chewing on his shirts. At first, it was a method he would use to relieve his anger, but it gradually became something he would do regularly. It eventually led to so many of his shirts having wrinkles or holes, causing his mom to constantly scold him about it. Over time, Derek grew out of the strange habit. Number 7 was submitted by Alpha Bewilderbeast. Pringle has a habit that everyone hates. He'll beat his hands on something in a rhythm whenever a catchy song begins to play on his playlist. Some people just don't like him doing it for some reason. He thinks that it just annoys them in general, or that they need to focus on something and his loud drumming is distracting. Number 6 was submitted by Finecollection. Mikhailem has an annoying habit of chewing on paper. It started when he was in 3rd grade and tore out a page of his notebook to hand to the teacher. When he tore it out, the ends of the page were left behind. He tore out the pieces and, for some reason, thought it would be a better idea to put them in his mouth instead of into the trash can. So, Mikhailem chewed on the paper until it was mush because it helped him relax. Over the next few days, he tore out shreds of paper to chew on. Mikhailem never actually swallowed the chewed up paper, but instead spit it on the floor under the table when the teacher wasn't looking. One day, the teacher stood up at the end of the class. She asked who had been leaving a mess on the floor. Since that day, whenever he chewed paper, he did it in the schoolyard where he couldn't get in trouble. All of his friends were always quick to point out how disgusting they thought it was. Now, he only rarely does it, but when he does, it drives his family and friends nuts. Number 5 was submitted by Weeaboo Child. Salty Squid has many weird, annoying habits that drive everyone nuts. For instance, whenever he sits down, he always brings his knee up to his face and sucks on it. He never realized he was actually doing that until one of his friends pointed it out. There are also times when he feels the urge to tell his friends what's on his mind and can't keep secrets as a result. He also turns everything into a competition, gets off topic, randomly changes his attitude, scratches his teeth, has a very creepy farmer's laugh, and commentates on every movie he watches. As a result, Salty Squid doesn't have many close friends. Number 4 was submitted by Syrup Hat. Melissa is a huge bookworm. If she gets her hands on a book that seems interesting, she won't let go of it until she finishes reading it. She will normally spend most of her days reading new books she borrowed from the library. But that isn't the weird, annoying habit. It's the place where she reads those books. In the bathroom. Melissa will sit in the bathtub or on the floor and read. It drives her family nuts because every time someone has to use the bathroom, Melissa gets interrupted. There would literally be a line of her family waiting by the door. One time, it got so bad that Melissa had to actually be dragged out. Number 3 was submitted by AGrimFate. He doesn't know why, but a habit Slap Tam has is to joke about everything. Whenever someone says a certain phrase, he always has to make a joke about it. One time, one of his friends said, "It's hot in here." Slap Tam responded with, "Well, don't take off all your clothes." He's tried stopping himself, but he just can't do it. Even now, as an adult, his mom has had to drag him out of places. Number 2 was submitted by Crazy Mace Spray. Back when he was in school, Helbin had the habit of fiddling with his shoe during class. He would keep taking it off and putting it on again. One day, his class was in the middle of doing some work when the teacher warned him to stop messing around with his shoe. With Hellbent being Hellbent, he didn't listen. He also didn't listen when the teacher gave him a second warning. The third time the teacher caught him playing with his shoe, however, was different. She yelled, "That's it," before grabbing his shoe and throwing it on top of the tallest cupboard in the classroom. Everyone fell silent, then laughed their heads off. The cupboard was so high up that they had to get the 7.5-foot tall gym teacher to come and grab the shoe. After that, Hellbent no longer fiddled with his shoe in class. Number 1 was submitted by Kawine17. Although he has many annoying habits, a habit of the captain's that annoys people the most is his tendency to blurt out random facts. It doesn't matter how relevant they are to the conversation, he just likes to tell random facts. He could be talking about the ocean with his friends and then suddenly blurt out, "Did you know a bullet travels 1,700 miles an hour on average?" Huge thanks to the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. We have another question for you. What's the worst way you've ever tried getting out of a commitment? Let us know in the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. This video was made possible by our fans over on Patreon. Thanks for your support, guys! Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon!